Hello everybody, it is good? This is a good position, right? I don't know, we'll see. Hello you beautiful f***ing nerds, I hope you have all had a great week and it is lovely to see all of your smiling nerdy faces once again. There are more of you, and I hate when YouTubers do this, but we've hit a milestone. We have over 100 subscribers now. It's going to be weird if people come back to this video when this channel is larger. I always find that weird when there is a milestone announced and the YouTuber has like 1 million subs now. One can hope. Today, we take a nice long trip to explore tokenism. If you do not know what tokenism is the practice of making only a perfunctory or symbolic effort to do a particular thing, especially by recruiting a small number of people from underrepresented groups in order to give the appearance of sexual or racial equality within a workforce. Does this sound familiar to you? Replace workforce with film, and you, my friend, have cracked the modern media formula. TM. I have touched on this in the Miles Morales video a couple weeks back, and yes, Hollywood often employs this method of tokenism by hiring people from minority groups to give general audiences the illusion that things are progressing in the right direction, to give minorities the illusion that they are being represented. Dear Hollywood, cringe. But what does this have to do with horror films? Well, my friend, strap yourself on, if that's what you're into. Horror films are often notorious for tokenization of characters. While I am sure many of you are aware of the black guy dies first horror trope, sadly this is a trope for a reason. People of color, but especially African American actors in horror films from the height of the slasher genre until about now, and throughout the history of film as a whole, are cast as either supporting characters that are often killed off first, or at least very early on. Look at Kincaid surviving in Nightmare 3 only to be killed off first in the sequel, or villainized and made into the antagonist of the film. Look at Candyman. I did some digging and found a few articles on this topic to support my case. My original intent with this essay was to provide some insight into the token black character in horror movies, but to be honest, I got distracted and didn't really bother. Can you blame me? These characters are boring, flat, and they always die quickly. It's so bad that the token black guy in a horror movie has become a running gag akin to being a red shirt in a Star Trek episode. This is by Ian Butt. What's going on? What is going on? Hold on. Why does this happen? I have a live video. Why are there ads on a live video? Is that back? How long was that there for? Was that distracting? Now, I would like to remind everyone to like the video, despite what they think of it. Subscribe. Let's get to 200 subscribers by tomorrow. Back to it. By Ian Butt. Cool name, dude! So Ian is basically saying that token black guys don't even do the job that they're designed for by the writer. Sorry to draw early conclusions, Ian, but in essence, the point is that boring, one-dimensional black characters do not grant any sort of gratification or satisfaction for their inclusion for black audiences. Yes, this is correct. Black people deserve well-written, well-rounded characters who are an essential part of the story. The problem you bump into, especially with horror films, but especially slashers, is that sometimes the main character doesn't even get any sort of character development, let alone a supporting character whose sole purpose in the film is to be killed off at the start. What could be the solution to this? You could give us black protagonists, like Jordan Peele did with all of his recent horror films. Do these films feel like the character being black is an integral part of the story? Yes. Get Out is especially great for these reasons. The social commentary is strong and adds to the experience of the film rather than rub it in your face and declare itself progressive for having a black protagonist in the film. Look how progressive we are! We've included a black dude in our film! And is he like a good character? Like, would the film be different without him? Hey, that's not the point. You should be happy we've included him in the first place. Look. Tokenism in horror isn't exclusive to African American characters, but other minority groups too. But I'm not here to bash on these films for having lackluster characters, as these are slasher films and more often than not they have terribly written characters. Because like I said in the last video, it's all about gore and tits. There are a few exceptions to these tropes, however. And also, I'm here to bash on the self-proclaiming progressiveness, not the actual... yeah, you get it. The first Predator film has a nice range of diverse characters. The characters feel like real people and like they are an effective team together. The characters who are black feel normal and integral to the film. They are not rubbed in your face, and their deaths are heroic and meaningful. Hell, even Predator 2, which is arguably an inferior film, has Danny Glover, a black dude, as the main protagonist who actually holds his own against a predator. Tokenism is also present with the different sexes. I've covered most of this in my previous video, but it is important to mention here too. Sometimes women are only included for the sake of their being a woman, to be kidnapped or killed topless. Unfortunately, as much as I love this film, Creature from the Black Lagoon suffers from this, as the woman is mainly only there to be kidnapped so the strong, totally not homoerotic man can rescue her from the evil monster. Yes, I will cover that film in the future in more detail. There is a lot to talk about. Tokenism is a bad thing. There isn't an argument to be made there, is there? More often than not, especially in more modern cinema, gay characters suffer the same fate as people of colour do in these films. These gay characters are what prompted me to make the first video on this channel to begin with. More digging. This is an article from 2020 by Iman Jarudi? I don't know. Although, I get a lot of people don't know how to pronounce my name. It's Goodsky. It's not Gucci, it's Goodsky. Bertie Goodsky, okay? I'm going to read the first sentence of this article and no more. Dear horror filmmakers, when a gay couple makes an on-screen appearance for hardly 5 minutes before getting viciously attacked by a murderous clown, that's not representation, that's homophobia. Yes, Iman, I'm going to call them Iman. They are correct. Let them go on though. I have fellow horror lover and queer author TJ Klune to thank for my change of heart. In a recent interview with Broads, Klune explained that while death is almost always expected and largely acceptable in horror, needless violence against queer individuals is not. Ever since that conversation, I have found my patience with unhappy endings for queer characters. In horror, and every other genre, running extraordinarily thin. And frankly, we should all be fed up with the sorry excuses for representation, quote marks, that we are given far too often by the mainstream horror industry. It's no surprise that films produced by predominantly white and cishet people lack positive and accurate representation. Only 1.3 out of 10 film directors are people of color. But it's disappointing and disturbing nonetheless. While this unfortunate theme is present in all veins of media, it is particularly acute in the horror genre. Iman talks about their own experiences there, and yes, they are correct, but please think for a second before you draw your own conclusions. Violence is a necessary part for horror to exist. So it is an easy conclusion to draw that violence will occur against everyone and anyone in the horror film, no matter their race, sex, gender, or sexuality. But, big but, and it is not acceptable to only have the more horrific scene happen to those minority groups, especially when it comes to horror films that vary in how gruesome their kills are, as if all the kills are brutal, you have no problem. But if cishet white boy Jimmy gets a stab in the gut without any blood, and the gay black dude gets skewered in horrible and unimaginable ways, that is bad. Do you see the problem? If you want to explore LGBT hate crime in your horror movie, do it. But explore the repercussions and consequences, as well as the mental and physical torment that comes with that. Don't just show a hate crime at the start and never mention it again. Horror films are a very interesting area to explore common film tropes, such as tokenism, misogyny, homophobia, and the like. Bad stuff. Because often they are shrouded in a cloak of, you guessed it, blood and boobs. But some of you have mentioned Terrifier last week. I really need to look into that and see if it's really as bad as you guys say. No, I'm sure it is. But I feel like the film will then require a video on it. Yes. So I haven't seen Terrifier 1 or 2. Apparently it's really f***ing horrible. But yeah, I'm gonna give that a watch and then decide for myself about how bad it is in terms of misogyny, you know? Right, so thank you everybody so much for watching this video where I explored tokenism. Like the video despite what you think of it, please. This is an area I wasn't too familiar with until I had to do some digging. But it's very interesting. It's an interesting topic to talk about, and it's not a good thing. Don't include black characters to tick off a box. I've said this before. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week, next Wednesday, and have a great week. Love you all. Goodbye, motherfucker.